Okay.
Next, Faith Baptist backlit sign.
How much time do they?
18. I mean, if I start at 11, you want it 10 to 11 for the first
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so Faith Baptist Church, we had that at the last town board meeting. This is a, for the planning commission meeting, this is a sign that,
Was denied. It was denied for a provision in the code that stated there should be no internally illuminated signs, the exact language,
facing a residential.
facing a residentially used or zoned property. And that would be that the property across the street was zoned residential, even though it was not property. So it was denied for that reason, and the board gave direction that this should be further looked at to determine whether we need to look at changing the ordinance or even some past examples that were approved under this provision that may or may not have been in conflict with the ordinance. You asked for some examples, and I didn't have examples on the spot because I wasn't involved in these, but originally Jamie had mentioned to me that like the Fox River Christian Church, Styx, and Storage Master at Sunset were all.
Okay, well, let's talk about those. Fox River Church doesn't face, it is perpendicular to the road, so it's not facing a.
So the sign is perpendicular?
Yes.
Okay, well that was.
Storage Master is perpendicular.
Okay.
It's not face a residentially zoned property.
All right.
And Styx is also perpendicular, and I don't know that any of that is zoned.
Well, if what you're saying is true, and I don't know off the top of my head, then that would certainly satisfy the requirements of the code, because there's one on the agenda today, the Waukesha Bible Church, where signs across from residential, but it's not facing, and staff's recommendation is that's okay. If you're saying the rest of these previous examples are also okay.
Indeed.
The other question is, though, is that whether or not that particular provision makes sense in the code, or is a candidate for review of actual language for an internally illuminated sign adjacent to any use whatsoever. And in this case, it's across the street from a farm. It just happens to be zoned residential.
Well, it doesn't happen to be zoned residential. The folks that own that farm zoned it residential with the intent of somebody developing it or having somebody develop it. They changed the zoning.
Okay.
So that there's an intent there.
So, Storage Master, don't they have signs on the building that are illuminated?
Internally?
Right.
Isn't the part of the ordinance we're talking about is signs on buildings?
These are wall signs, yes.
Yes, wall signs on buildings. Storage Master has that. I mean, make it simple.
Can I get to the end of my question first?
Yeah, go.
Thanks. So Storage Master has a sign on the building.
Sure.
The sign that's on the road is perpendicular.
Okay.
The sign that's on the building,
Sure.
and it's internally illuminated, doesn't that face the residential area across the street, Chairman? I don't know how that doesn't apply.
But I have a legal problem with why does it matter? If we broke the law 3 or 4 times, and now your staff is smart enough to catch it that you're breaking the law,
Right.
you don't get to break the law again.
I agree.
Now, that might be a basis to change the law because
I get it.
nobody cared, and that's where I think John was going, but I just want to say that I don't think you made a mistake in the Faith Baptist Church analysis.
No, your hands were tied.
Okay.
What could you do at that point?
Folks, make it real simple. Step out the door and turn to your left. You got an internally illuminated sign here on the town hall and fire department that faces, looks to me like a house across the street. You have to go over to Sunset.
Internally illuminated.
What's that?
Fire department.
This fire department sign.
Yeah, and this doesn't apply to just wall signs, it's any sign. This is under the illumination and nuisance prevention. So it's
Okay,
any-
so we got the signs, now we know that. No sense in identifying every single one in the town.
We need to take a look at finding some flexibility in that ordinance as far as I'm concerned. If there's a prohibition against it and you do an ordinance revision to basically allow the town board to have some flexibility.
Some discretion perhaps. Yeah.
Yes.
What
There you go.
code is that?
Real simple.
It's 13 to 15H.
13.
13-2-15H. Sign illumination, nuisance prevention, and then number 1 for that.
So let's go
You're saying, Sean, that the issue at hand applies not only to the prohibition, not only wall signs, but other signs as well?
Any sign that requires approval, that would be eliminated.
Internally illuminated sign, anything, even a freestanding one. So then our sign out here in front of Town Hall as well is a violation. So it's times 2.
No, I think it's specifically says internally illuminated, doesn't it?
Internally illuminated, yeah.
Well, that's internally illuminated.
Is
The sign out in front here?
the one right there?
Yes.
Couldn't tell you.
The sign cabinet?
I don't know if it is.
Would you like me to go look?
Well, we know we got the violations, let's not identify every single one, who cares? We know we got to address the code.
Sure, that'd be great.
She's checking.
I mean, it seems the simple solution is just to have a case by case.
Of course.
And just say, hey, if it's not, like the one the one across from the farm, you know, potentially, it's a tiny little sign in the building, it's not necessarily impact anything, even if it was.
Well, first, it appears that we're going to have to identify every single sign in the town that we violate.
So if the, ordinance change, we'll have to go to text change. Are we going to require the Baptist church to petition, or are we going to do this in town?
See, the supervisor will support it. The supervisor supports it, then they don't have to do it, right? I mean, isn't that the way that I understand it?
Well, the town board or the planning commission can be the petitioner versus the, I don't know if that is a supervisor.
Okay, town board.
I can check the code real quick, but your point, I agree with you.
Can we change things on time?
But have we started a list of things that need to be modified? Do we have anything else on the list? A lot of times we just keep lists.
That's the person that popped up as well.
Yeah, we might have something on 12, because that's not on the
Building itself.
I don't have anything else. All right, is it lit? Yeah.
Here it is.
So,
And with supervisor number 3.
All right, who's going to petition? Kathy's question was, is
for
this,
that truck, I could have won your new truck.
is this going on the village town board agenda, plan commission agenda to initiate a petition to amend the code? And who's writing the change? Let's,
Because it'll be under one roof.
Goes to the town board, doesn't it? Because I don't think plan commission doesn't approve the sign.
They don't approve signs, but they approve changes to the zoning ordinance.
So maybe
Who could
it's theirs
petition?
too. I get it. Okay.
Or make
So the board-
recommendations.
Sure.
Well, the petitioner for the sign should really petition, shouldn't he?
that was Kathy's question. Are we going to force Faith Baptist to petition, or are we going to have it a town action to petition?
I think we should take it upon ourselves.
Oh, so your roof line's good.
so I'll
Bring
put
it
it
to
up
the
on the
town board
agenda.
then.
So should I put it on the agenda?
Sounds like a request by a supervisor to put it on the agenda to me.
So, well, then you
I'll agendize it.
Do you support that?
I'll let you know at the meeting.
Do you support that, Mr. Chairman?
I don't think we can take a poll right now, can we?
Well, don't waste any time then.
No, for it to be on
I've
the
been
agenda.
trying to avoid that for the last 15
It's okay for us to put it on the
minutes.
agenda, though.
Yeah, let's get it on the agenda.
Guys, on the agenda, okay.
Good idea.
All right, I'll get it
It was
on the
yours.
agenda.
Are we
Okay.
Next, Arthur Ganaroth.